welcome everyone. My name is Alta Price, and I'm thrilled to be here today with the author Ivna Žic of Die Nachkommende. And we were very much looking forward to bringing this novel to audiences in person in New York City for the 2020 Festival Neue Literatur. And we're very sorry that we can't meet you all in person, but we're also grateful to the Sant Jordi Virtual Festival for welcoming us to this online platform, and hopefully we'll be reaching readers in many more countries and language pairs through this virtual interface. So Ivna Žic was born in Zagreb in 1986 and grew up in Zurich. She studied applied theater studies, theater directing, and dramatic writing in Gießen, Hamburg, and Graz. Since 2011, she has been working as a freelance author, lecturer, and director at the Maxim Gorky Theater in Berlin, Schauspielhaus Vienna, Lucerne Theater, and many others. Žic has received numerous scholarships and prizes for her work. Her debut novel, Die Nachkommende, was nominated for both the Austrian Book Prize and the Swiss Book Prize in 2019. She lives in Zurich and Vienna. Now, Die Nachkommende, our title provisionally until it comes out in English, is Those Who Come Later. I'll give it sort of a recap of the novel, and then we'll get to hear Ivna read in the original German. At the height of summer, a young woman travels from Paris to Croatia, where, like every summer, the whole family awaits her return to their ancestral island. She reflects on the man she's had a relationship with for the past year, a relationship that never really went anywhere. The man was a married artist, a painter who no longer paints. She is not alone on the long train trip. Her forebears take seats beside her in the sleeper car, and her dead grandfather is among them. He too was a painter, and he too stopped painting. These two absent yet somehow present men become her companions on a journey into the past and the memories that make up the family narrative. Her parents' emigration just before war broke out in Croatia sparked myriad consequences. One recurring family trait is the tendency to quit, to give things up, and Žic invites the reader to join her main character as she asks why. The tensions between geographical and linguistic shifts explode our compartmentalized sense of history, simultaneously examining present and past, as well as presence and absence. And with that, Ivna, take it away.
Thank you, Alta. Thank you so much for this introduction, and thank you for the invitation to the festival and to everyone out there. I hope everyone's doing fine, and it's great to do this together today. I'm actually in Croatia right now, so as the book starts with a train ride towards Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, I will start there and read this today from Croatia in German, so enjoy. Jahr, Jahre, Großvater. Sie schnarcht. Die Frau unter mir schnarcht. Eine ganze Nacht hat sie geschnarcht. Aus ihrer Liege kippen weiße Waden, Sommermückenstiche. Sie schwitzt, ich schwitze. Alle Stiche aufgekratzt. An den nackten Sohlen Wundpflaster und Striemen von Sandalen. Blaue Venen, Haarstoppeln, Mundgeruch im Raum. Bitterkeit unter den Achseln. Keine Nacht mehr. Ich setze mich auf. Die Decke ist zu niedrig, doch langsam ist es egal, wie sich der Körper verbiegt. Fast 12 Stunden ist er schon unterwegs, wieder einmal, kaum geschlafen, wieder einmal diese Fahrt, die weder aufhört noch irgendetwas auslöst, außer die Wiederholung, außer ihre Dauer. Bekannte 12 Stunden, wo stapeln sie sich wohl, diese immer wieder neuen, fast 12 Stunden Fahrt? Irgendwo in diesem gekrümmten Körper liegen und stapeln sie sich, denk ihn weg, wisch ihn weg und auch diese Fahrten. 100-mal oder waren es schon 500-mal oder nur sehr viele, für einen einzelnen Körper vielleicht jetzt schon zu viele? War es mal 3-mal im Jahr und dann 4-mal und dann die Jahre, in denen nur Sommer und Weihnachten möglich waren, so waren es unausweichlich diese Stunden und ihre fast genaue Anzahl, die unsere Bewegungen aufeinander zu und wieder weg seit jenem Tag bestimmen, als sie die Koffer nahmen, als sie die Wohnung im obersten Stock des Plattenbaus in Novi Zagreb abschlossen, Als die Zweiten die Ersten wurden, die gingen. Und die Mutter mich in den gelb gestreiften Rock steckte und sich den Bruder um den Bauch hängte und wir ins Flugzeug stiegen. Wohl gepackt, wohl vorbereitet, wohl organisiert. Es warteten Wohnung, Arbeit und ein Kindergartenplatz. Es wurden getauscht, die mir bekannte Straße, das Plattenbauviertel, die Großeltern, die Tante in der Stadt, die vielen Parks und Ausflugsziele, die Sarma und die gefüllte Paprika, die kleinen Schokoladen mit den Tierbildern zum Sammeln, Zagreb, die Stadt und das Land, das damals noch ein anderes war und sich bald ändern sollte. Gegen eine neue Entfernung und ihren Wert. Gegen die Erinnerung, die ab diesem Moment anders verlaufen würde, mit zweisprachigen Träumen und zeitrennenden Ferien, immer zu wenig Zeit für die vielen Verwandten, immer zu wenig Zeit für eine wahrhaftige Unterhaltung, Renn, Ostern, Weihnachten, wieder Ostern, schon wieder Weihnachten, dazwischen und davor und meist auch danach ein schlechtes Gewissen, ein Sprachspagat oder ein heulender Salto. Inzwischen eine Kindheit an einem See weit weg davon. Anke für Butter, zu Hause Putter und Grüezi, Ade, Merci, Frau Rüedi und die Nadines und Stefanis und Chregis und Samis im Kinski und in der Schule inzwischen ein Studium noch weiter weg. Mit jenem Tag beginnend, an dem die Mutter mich in den gelb gestreiften Rock steckte und sich den Bruder um den Bauch hängte und wir ins Flugzeug stiegen. Ein kurzes Gewitter, eine verschüttete Coca-Cola und dann die Landung in Zürich, wo der Vater schon wartete. Ein Foto fürs Familienalbum. Darauf ist schräg hinter uns Kunft Zü zu lesen. Das Ende des Stadtnamens verdeckt ein großer Kopf im Hintergrund. Den Anfang der Ankunft hat die Kamera abgeschnitten. Unser Nullpunkt. Von dort wächst alles aus zwei Richtungen heraus. Aus den Stunden dazwischen und jenen, die stets fehlen, entstehen irgendwo Stapel, die sich nicht mehr abtragen lassen werden. Draußen, jetzt Vorstadt. Kein Land mehr. Gleißende Morgensonne, graue Betonklötze, Vorstadt, Großstadt, die ausgestorben sein wird. Der Zug halb leer. In einem Land am Meer bleibt im August keiner in der Stadt. Der Boden glüht, Staub, die Fenster in den Betonblöcken stehen fast alle offen. An den Häuserwänden hängen Klimaanlagen, ab und zu Satellitenschüsseln. Ich drehe mich um. Vor 3 Tagen noch ein anderer Zug. Ich drehe mich um. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a treat, especially, I forgot to mention earlier, I did have the honor of translating this particular excerpt into English, and hearing you read it, you know, you wrote it, but hearing you read it in the original, it does have this effect of sort of an incantation, and the rhythm is just, it's a real gift to hear you read it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So I will try not to be too self-conscious as I read my English translation of it, and hopefully readers will, our audience today will eventually have access to the English language version in book form.
Yeah.
All right. Year's grandfather. She's snoring. The woman below me is snoring. She's snored all night. Pale calves poke out past the edge of her bed, dotted with mosquito bites. She's sweating. I'm sweating. Her bug bites have been scratched raw. The soles of her bare feet are bandaged, yet bear welts from her sandals, blue veins, and stubble. The roomette smells of bad breath and sour armpits. It's no longer night. I sit up. The blanket is too short, but after a while it stops mattering how much my body has to bend. I've been en route for almost 12 hours already, once again having hardly slept, once again taking this trip that neither ceases nor resolves a thing, aside from its own repetition, aside from its duration, these 12 familiar hours. And where do they all accumulate anyway, these ever-new, nearly 12-hour trips? They must be piling up somewhere in this bent-over body, I think, trying to think them away, brushing them off along with all these trips. 100 times, or has it been 500 times already, or just a whole lot? For one lone body, maybe it's already too much. Once it was just 3 times a year, then 4, And then came the years when only summertime and Christmas trips were possible. So these hours and their almost exact same quantity grew inevitable, determining our movements toward and away from one another once again, ever since the day we packed our bags, closed up our place on the top floor of the apartment complex in Novi Zagreb, as the second generation became the first to leave, and my mother put me in the yellow striped skirt, strapped my brother to her belly, and we boarded the flight. Well packed, well prepared, well organized. An apartment, job, and kindergarten awaited us, and we traded all that was familiar, the streets, the complex, the entire neighborhood, my grandparents, my aunt who lived in the city, the many parks and green getaways, the sarma and stuffed peppers, the little animal-themed chocolates with collectible wrappers, Zagreb, the city, and the whole country, which was a different one back then, one that would soon change. For all that was new, a new degree of distance and its value, the recollection that from now on everything would be different, bilingual dreams and vacations that flew by too fast, always too little time for our many relatives, always too little time for real conversation and connection, always run, run, run. Easter, Christmas, Easter again, already Christmas again, and in between, beforehand, and usually afterward, a bad conscience, a tangle of language, a howling somersault. Meanwhile, a childhood by the seaside far away, Anka for butter, back home it was putar, and grüezi, ade, merci, mesruedi. The Nadines and Stefanis and Regis and Samis at Chinsky and in school. Meanwhile, a course of study, now even farther away, all beginning on that day my mother put me in the yellow striped skirt, strapped my brother to her belly, and we boarded the flight. A short storm, a spilled Coca-Cola, and then touchdown in Zurich, where father awaited us. A snapshot for the family photo album, in which just behind us you can make out the partial words Kunft zu at the end of the city's name, Zurich, obscured by someone's head in the background. The beginning of the word Ankunft, arrivals, cut off by the camera. Switch those bits around and you get Zukunft, future. This marks our ground zero, from which everything then sprouted out in two directions. The hours in between and the hours always missing must be piling up somewhere into a stack so high that it can no longer be carried away. Outside, it's now the suburbs. The countryside is gone. The morning sun shines brightly. Gray concrete blocks rise up. Suburbs, the big city. It will all become a ghost town. The train now half empty. In a seaside country, by August, everyone has left town. The ground is ablaze, dusty. Almost all the windows in the concrete blocks are open, and AC units, as well as the occasional satellite dish, dot the exteriors. I turn around. 3 days ago, yet another train. I turn around. It starts 3 days prior. I turn onto my stomach, onto my back, onto my side, and it ceases. I turn around in a train to Paris 3 days ago. I turn around in a purple and red high-speed train, body ablaze in an ice-cold compartment, silence surrounding me. I turn around and through this silence slink out to the bathroom, change in the hope that no one will notice, as if anyone would even care whether I had changed, whether I now looked better or worse or simply different, an insecurity that, all in all, mattered to not a single person on the train, aside from him. I'm lying on my back. I'm lying still. And yet his hands and eyes know every inch of my body by heart. They know the dips between my shoulders, in the crooks of my arms, around my collarbones. Even deep asleep, they could trace the outline of my chest, my ears, my throat, hands that have penetrated so deeply that have disassembled and then reassembled my body over and over again. I changed, as if such a small decision were capable of determining all the others, as if it were armor in which I might step out feeling fully secure, or at least a little more secure. If I could come to a clear decision while on this too cold train to Paris, then it must mean I'd be able to reach yet another one again after my arrival. And yet there was no such thing as secure or insecure when I thought back to our encounters and embraces. There was just me and him, and there was no armor with which I might fight for the one or the other. And so I invoked this act of changing, I invoked my underwear, my shirt, my pants and socks. I invoked every part of my body to protect this encounter. I could do no more in that too-cold train compartment 3 days ago as I headed for Paris, perhaps in order to come to a decision. And yet I already knew. I had already known for a while now. I knew that we never said goodbye, not after any of our encounters, and so we wouldn't this time either. I knew we'd never find an end, and that nevertheless, for some time now, in a certain way, it was already over. I nevertheless went 3 days ago, just as everything else had nevertheless happened over this entire year. As the train arrived in Paris, I left my invocations in the compartment. We've taken no vows and have no timid trysts. I turn around.
Thank you so much. Wow, this was a premiere to say that loud. So thank you so much for the translation. It's wonderful to hear it, really.
Thank you. Thank you for a really stunning novel. Some of our English language audience might not be familiar with the fact that Matthes and Seitz is one of the I don't want to call them the best, but one of the best. They're publishing some really fascinating books, and this is your first novel, correct?
It is, yes, absolutely. And I was very lucky that they published it. It was my big wish. So exactly.
Well, it's a really wonderful book, and there will be a link with this video and online for anyone who wants to purchase the German language book, and hopefully people will stay tuned. I, for one, very much look forward not only to hopefully bringing this entire book into English, but also hopefully seeing one of your plays eventually. It's always wonderful to see the relationship between theatrical work and literature in novel form. So, Ivna, thank you so much.
Alta, thank you so much. And I just hope that we'll meet again somewhere, not again, but just meet for real somewhere soon.
Yeah.
All of us, everyone listening out there as well. And just thank you so much so far. And just, keep on working together.
Wonderful. Keep writing, and we'll keep reading.
We'll do
Take
that.
care.
I'll do that. Okay, thank you.